Hello, everyone. This is Toby Nevett here, one of the business leaders here at Empiric. Empiric Insights is our video series where the team sits down with experts across different specialities that we recruit for to hear their guidance and perspectives on current influences shaping the industry. And today we have Dr. Tim Sattler with us for this episode. So, Tim, thanks once again for joining us today. Could you please start off by introducing yourself?
Yes, sure. So I'm Tim Sattler. I'm the CISO of a company called Jungheinrich. We're one of the global leaders in warehouse automation equipment, from forklift trucks to mobile robots. And I'm also a board director at ISACA, which is a professional association in the fields of IT audit, information security, and IT GRC. I started with information security about 25 years ago. Originally, I studied physics, but then I switched to the field of information security, and I'm still very enthusiastic about it. Started as a consultant, and then later switched to the corporate side, so to say. Yeah, and I have a team of 15 people at my company, and we're in charge of all the information security stuff going on in the company.
Perfect. And then you mentioned you're still extremely interested in the topic after so long. What out of interest? What's keeping you so interested in the topic even now?
Well, as information security has been developing so quickly and so dynamically over the years, it never got boring. And always there were new challenges, new technologies coming along, new threats. So what I like about information security is that it's every day. You never know what to expect, and it's not the just the average 9 to 5 job, but it's really it's a passion, I would say.
Yeah, I suppose it's always evolving, right? Like you said, especially with new threats and stuff like that, it's always evolving. And how has your journey shaped the way you think about talent, skills, and opportunity today?
I think the main takeaway from these years in the field is that diverse thinking is more important than narrow expertise. So you need to have people with different perspectives on the team. Some of the best people that I had on my team in the past and also nowadays are the ones who didn't have a linear career path from, let's say, studying cybersecurity to the job, but really come from other fields. For example, I have someone on my team who is in charge of security awareness trainings and so on, and he has a background in the tourism industry. So completely different career path than you would expect for someone working in this field. And in fact, this is really, really, really important. The other thing that I'm always looking for when I hire people is that they are eager to learn. They are agile in their thinking, that they adapt to new ideas, to new technologies. So it's lifelong learning. That's really, really important.
Yeah, certainly. I think, like you said at the start, with such an evolving field, it's important you have people continue to adapt continuously. Just going back to that person from the tourism industry, and you said there having people maybe not with a linear career path, but a slightly different background and having a slightly different perspective and mindset can help. And you look for that in your team. Why is that such a benefit for your team, having people not in the linear career path and maybe come from a different space?
Since the field is so dynamic, and since you always have new challenges, rather if it's new threats or if it's new technologies, but also the business is evolving. So you really need to adapt, and that means that you need to be creative, you need to be innovative. You also need to have great communication skills. That's also very important because you need to talk with the different departments within the company, and also they are different. Each of them is different. So you also need a different approach in how to communicate. And so if you have a team of people who are also diverse in their thinking, you can basically, you have a broader spectrum of ideas and approaches to these challenges and also how to communicate to the business. And that's a really, really important strength. So expertise, of course, is also important, but expertise is also something that you learn on your way while you're working on the job.
Exactly.
So you can always acquire the skills that you need to have the right attitude and also have this diverse spectrum of people. That's something that you cannot do afterwards. You need to hire for that.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't teach that, can you? The right attitudes, particularly. And you often say cybersecurity must be treated as a corporate issue, not just an IT concern. What culture shifts should senior leaders look for when building a security team in an industrial organization?
I wouldn't limit this to an industrial organization, but I think that the most important part is really that you have people who are able to communicate, who are able to translate between the tech speak and the language of the business, who can explain to the business why it's important to invest in cybersecurity, that security is not just a cost center or tech issue, but it's really, it's a business enabler. So without cybersecurity nowadays, you cannot do business because everything is digital. And we as information security, I see ourselves as kind of a digital trust advisors. So we actually are the ones who are in the role of advising the business on how to implement digital technology in our products, but also within the company. And that's not just security, that's also the responsible use of technologies, that's transparency, so digital trust as a whole, and that's what you need. And of course, for that, you also need to have a lot of cross-functional integration in the organization, which again means you need to be able to communicate with the business, so that in the end you come to that say shared ownership of security, and not just thinking that, okay, there's a security department and they will take care of security, but it's really, I wouldn't say everyone's responsibility, but it's a shared responsibility among the different business units to make the company secure. And also,
like you say. Yeah, like you say, certainly in the digital era, right, where every business is digital, you must be protected, right? Certainly understand that for every industry. And you've spoken about the challenges of always on manufacturing environments as well in your current business, using technologies like autonomous robots. How can hiring managers spot candidates for roles where downtime isn't an option?
Well, I come back to the topic of communication again. So communication skills is I think is the most important skill that someone needs to bring for that, because you need to be able to communicate, for example, with the engineering teams. You need to collaborate with them, understand their requirements, their way of thinking. So I think that communication is more than 50% of the game. And it doesn't help you if you have a great tech expert who is not able to bring across what what is the important thing here. The other thing, especially in a production environment, is that you have a focus on resilience. So it's not only prevention and containment, it's really this idea of resilience, how to keep the company alive, how to keep production running if you have a cyber incident, for example.
Oh, right. Okay. So how to keep the business essentially running if something. So how would that happen then in the instance of your business, just out of interest?
So you would need to have an understanding of the business processes, and you would need to know how can you support the business and keeping business processes running when there may be, for example, parts of the IT infrastructure not working in the way they're supposed to because you have an incident and you may need to switch off systems and so on. But how can you still nevertheless keep the production running? And this also extends to the supply chain. So you also need to deal, of course, with your suppliers and their security posture, because if a major or critical supplier gets hit by a cyber incident and then you don't get the parts that you need. Yeah. So apart from communication and resilience, a third pillar is really to look at the supplier side. So how to secure the supply chain, because even if everything is running at our company, but if we have a cyber incident at a critical supplier, that would mean that we don't get the parts that we need to keep the production running. So you also need to have a look at the supplier side. So implement a proper supplier risk management. And for that, you also need specific skills that people need to bring to keep everything running.
Okay, awesome. And I know you've highlighted a few times ransomware and supply chain attacks are becoming more professionalized. What mindset and behaviors separate candidates who thrive in high-risk environments from those with standard cyber credentials, would you say?
There are various aspects that I would mention here. First of all, I think you need to bring a mindset for threat-informed decision-making. So not just looking at checklists and see how your controls are implemented, but really see it or bring in this attacker's perspective as well, because that will help you to prioritize your controls, but also your detections, for example. So having a certain threat-informed mindset, I think, is an important thing. Then you need to be able to live with ambiguity and volatility, because in such an environment where you have new threats all the time, also very, very severe threats, you will never have the complete information. So you need to be able to live with that and cope with that you have to decide on limited information that you have. And this also requires a certain strength on the people's side. Which also, I think, includes that you need to have a certain personal resilience. So, because cyber attack is always a very stressful situation, and you need to be able to cope with that. And that, whatever techniques you have for you personally to do that, but that you have that personal resilience is really important.
Yeah.
And last but not least, but I mentioned that before as well, is you need to bring this curiosity and this willingness to learn continuously, because also the threats are evolving constantly, and you need to keep up with the developments. You need to know what are the latest attack techniques and so on, and how can you adapt to this in a tactical way.
Awesome. And you mentioned there, obviously, the personal resilience. A cyber attack is obviously quite a stressful time, and a person needs to be resilient to work through that. Can you speak to that a little bit more? I think that would be very interesting to hear, how you and your team kind of have to stay resilient in any real threats.
Well, I think one important aspect is really that you invest a lot in team building. So that because everyone has a slightly different way to react to stress. And also that different factors may be particularly stressful for any person on the team. So I think it's important that the people on the team know each other well, so that they have this sensor to recognize if one person on the team shows stress in a non-healthy way. So also to support each other. I think that's really important, because everyone has their weak points, and everyone get into a very stressful situation, but then it's good if the other people on the team take care of each other and recognize that there may be an issue, and then you can take off that person maybe for a while, and the others will cover that.
Awesome. Okay, so it's a real team culture. Okay, and at your current business, I know you've ran awareness initiatives like the Fortune Cookie campaign to embed security habits across the workforce. How can hiring managers and professionals use storytelling to show their security mindset rather than just listing certifications?
Well, two sides to that. So in the hiring process, I think it's really important also to ask people for their stories, not just listing their skills. So, for example, if you have a candidate, you could ask him or her, how did you change the security behavior of a particular person in your career, so that the person really behave differently afterwards? What was your way to achieve that? And really listen to that story, because that will really help you to see if the person is able to communicate security in a way that it actually changes the behavior, and changing the culture is basically changing the behavior of many people.
Of course.
Single person at a time. So I think that is the approach that I would take. And also in communicating security to business, it also helps to use stories and to start with the why, explain why you're doing it, give examples, maybe of near misses, incidents that you had, and just try to get people on board by storytelling. So I would say that is
awesome. Understood. Perfect. Understood. And obviously a key topic at the moment as AI reshapes both threat and defense. Are there any upskilling or reading resources you'd recommend for internal tech professionals and hiring managers who want to stay ahead of the game?
Sure. I think that there's really, nowadays, there's a lot of really, really good material out there. There's also free material, like from OWASP, for example, or from the Cloud Security Alliance. We at ISACA also have a lot of free materials that you can take to improve your knowledge on AI. ISACA has also launched a series of new certifications that you can take to build on your existing skills in IT audit or information security or risk management, and add the AI layer on top. So that's something that you could do. What I would personally also recommend is try to look at the AI from a broader perspective. So from that digital trust perspective, that really not only focus on security, but also on the ethical aspects in the use of AI, transparent use of AI technologies, and so on. Because I think digital trust is really, really a differentiator in the future for companies. So if your customers don't trust you and the way you use these new technologies, they will move on. So that also underlines that this is really a business enablement. It's not just the pure risk perspective that security departments had in the past, but it's really enabling the business to bring these technologies to a successful use.
And how do you see AI impacting the cybersecurity domain as a whole? What's the biggest impact you think AI is going to have or is having on the cybersecurity space?
Well, of course, there are two sides to that. First is that the attackers will use AI to become more efficient for example, for better phishing campaigns, for deepfakes, but also, of course, for developing malware. That's already happening today. But on the other side, the good thing is that the controls that we need to defend against these techniques, that they don't change. So, of course, the attacker is more efficient in a way by using AI, but it's not really a totally different way of attacking. It's just, yeah, you get just more of the same thing, more phishing emails, more
More of it,
malware, and
yeah.
so on. But the controls that you need to have in place to defend against that are still the same. So I think that, at least for now, is the good news. So I think that we
Yes.
don't need to change that much. Of course, AI will also help you in for example, in your security operations, so in detecting attacks and also in managing these attacks, so in incident response, AI will be helpful. But it's also the same thing. It will make you more efficient, but it's not necessarily a new quality.
Yes. So not necessarily a new
Yeah.
concept, but more efficient in protecting businesses and for hackers. Not a new hack, but more you're automating the current hacks and stuff like that, and more volume.
Of course,
them.
of course,
Okay,
there
cool.
are AI-specific risks like prompt injection or data poisoning, but at the moment, at least, we don't see that really happening much in reality. Those are risks that we need to deal with, and we will, of course, build our skills on also on these issues. But for the time being, it's still I would say, traditional attacks that still worry us most.
Fair enough. And is there anything around internal security hiring, team building, or industrial cyber risk you think remains misunderstood or maybe overlooked?
Well, I think that when it comes to this famous cyber skills gap, I think that many companies still underestimate the importance of, for example, having an internal pipeline of candidates, people within the company that you can develop into that direction, and also again having diverse teams, bringing in people that may not have the streamlined CV for cybersecurity, but that may bring in other skills that you need on the team and that you can develop in that direction. So I think that the cyber skills gap would really become much narrower if we would use these potentials.
Understood. And then finally, Tim, is there anything you'd like to add that you feel we haven't covered in this conversation?
Nothing really that comes to my mind now. Sorry.
And no problem, no problem. Well, that's it. Thank you very much for your time, Tim. Today, it's been lovely having you on the series, and yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time today, Tim. It's been a pleasure having you on our Empiric Insights series. Feel free to connect with Tim on LinkedIn to follow what he's doing within the cybersecurity space. And if you're not already, please give us a follow on LinkedIn also to see this Insight series episode.